Picture this: the faint hum of a world just waking up, the kind of quiet that feels like a secret only you're in on. I'm standing at my bedroom window, the cool glass against my fingertips, watching the first blush of dawn creep over the horizon. My name's Amanda, and at 40, I've carved out a life that feels like a well-worn path. Familiar, steady, maybe even a little too predictable. But there's a comfort in that, a rhythm I've danced to for years alongside Derek, my husband of 15 years. We've built something solid, something I thought I could always count on. Every morning, it's the same. The alarm jars us awake at 6:30 a.m., sharp and unapologetic. I roll over, catching a glimpse of Derek's tousled hair and the way he squints against the light, grumbling under his breath. We stumble into our cozy kitchen, the sun spilling through the window like liquid gold, painting the countertops in warmth. I brew the coffee, strong, black, just how he likes it, while the aroma fills the air, grounding us in the moment. At our small dining table, we sit with plates of scrambled eggs and toast, the clink of forks against ceramic the only sound for a while. It's not a grand romance every day, but there are moments, like when his hand brushes mine, reaching for the butter, that remind me of the fire we used to have. Those fleeting touches still spark something, a quiet heat that lingers beneath the surface, a memory of nights when we'd lose ourselves in each other, tangled in sheets and whispers, exploring every inch of what we could be. After breakfast, we climb into our silver sedan, the engine humming as we join the morning crawl to Pinnacle Solutions, the company where we've both worked for over a decade. I'm in analytics on the third floor, buried in spreadsheets and reports, turning raw data into something that makes sense. Derek, though, he's up on the fifth floor in strategy, always lost in thought, sketching out big-picture plans that could shift the company's entire direction. Driving to work, we chat about the little things. Traffic snarls, whether we should grill or order in on Saturday, maybe catch a movie if we're not too wiped out. It's mundane, sure, but it's ours. At the office, we part ways at the elevator with a quick nod or a half smile, knowing we'll reconnect at lunch in the company cafeteria. Those midday breaks are a small anchor, a chance to steal a few minutes together amidst the chaos of deadlines and meetings. Then there's Mr. Richard Hargrove, our boss, a man who looms over Pinnacle Solutions like a storm cloud you can't ignore. He's in his late 50s, with sharp gray eyes that seem to cut right through you, sizing up your worth in a single glance. His voice, deep, commanding, can silence a room without effort. There's a ruthlessness to him. Lately, though, the steady rhythm of our life has started to falter, like a song skipping on a scratched record. Derek's been different, consumed by something I can't quite reach. He's been chasing the role of Senior Strategy Director at Pinnacle Solutions for years, and now, with whispers of the position opening up, his anxiety has clawed its way to the surface. This past week, I've watched him unravel bit by bit. Sleep has become a stranger to him. Most nights, I wake to the sound of his bare feet pacing the living room floor, his voice a low murmur as he talks to himself about the competition and proving he's worth it. I lie there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, wondering how to pull him back from the edge of this obsession. Monday morning started with a small but telling moment. We were at the kitchen table, the steam from our coffee curling into the air, when Derek's hand trembled as he reached for his mug. The dark liquid sloshed over the rim, staining his crisp white shirt. He cursed under his breath, his face flushing with frustration, and I reached out, resting my hand on his arm. "Hey, it's just a shirt," I said softly, trying to ease the tension knotting his shoulders. But his eyes, usually so warm when they meet mine, were distant, lost in some internal battle I couldn't fight for him. By Wednesday, the pressure had only mounted. I found him in our bedroom, standing in front of the full-length mirror, adjusting his tie for the 100th time, as he prepared for a crucial meeting with Mr. Hargrove. His presentation materials were spread across the bed: charts, graphs, pages of notes he'd rewritten over and over. "Does this look professional enough?" he asked, turning to me with a desperate edge in his voice. I stepped closer, smoothing the silk fabric of his tie, forcing a smile. "You look perfect, Derek. You've got this." But even as the words left my lips, I felt a pang of guilt. My own work in analytics has me drowning in data and deadlines, and I've been so buried in my spreadsheets that I've struggled to truly be there for him. I want to help, to anchor him, but I'm stretched thin myself. Our daily commute to the office has shifted too. Where we used to fill the car with light conversation, now there's only silence, heavy and suffocating. Derek grips the steering wheel, his fingers drumming an erratic rhythm against the leather, his jaw tight as if he's chewing on words he can't spit out. I stare out the window, watching the city blur past, feeling the distance between us grow wider with every mile. I miss the ease we used to share, the way we could laugh over nothing, or the times when he'd reach over to squeeze my hand just because. Now, it's like we're two strangers sharing the same space, each lost in our own storms. The tension reached a breaking point on Saturday morning dawns with a heaviness I can't shake. A gnawing unease that's been building since last night when Derek's cryptic words hung in the air like a storm waiting to break. He'd mumbled something about needing my help, his voice low and fractured, before turning away to stare into the darkness of our bedroom. Now, as we drive to Pinnacle Solutions under the pretense of catching up on work, the silence in our silver sedan is thicker than ever. I glance at him, his hands tight on the steering wheel, his jaw set in a way that tells me he's wrestling with something he won't share. I want to ask, to push, but the words stick in my throat, choked by a growing sense of dread. We pull into the empty parking lot, the office building looming before us like a silent giant. Stepping inside, the usual buzz of activity is gone, replaced by an eerie stillness that presses against my skin. The lobby is deserted, the security desk unmanned, and our footsteps echo on the polished floor as we head to the elevator. The hum of the air conditioning is the only sound as the doors slide shut, trapping us in a small, sterile box. I steal another look at Derek, but he's staring at the floor numbers ticking upward, his fingers twitching at his sides, avoiding my gaze like I'm a stranger. My stomach twists. Something's wrong, deeply wrong, and I can feel it in the way the air seems to thicken around us as we ascend to the 5th floor. The elevator dings, and we step out into the strategy department, a maze of cubicles and glass-walled offices that feels like a ghost town on a weekend. I tell Derek I'll drop off some reports in my office downstairs first, a flimsy excuse to buy a moment alone, to steady the nerves jittering under my skin. He nods absently, already moving toward his desk down the hall, his shoulders hunched as if carrying an invisible weight. I take the stairs back to the 3rd floor, clutching the stack of papers I don't even need, my mind racing with questions I don't have answers for. What did he mean by help? Why does he look like he's about to shatter? I shake it off, forcing myself to focus as I make my way back up to meet him, each step feeling heavier than the last. When I reach Derek's desk, my breath catches. Mr. Hargrove is there, standing like a statue carved from ice, his gray eyes pinning me in place with a look that sends a shiver down my spine. He's dressed impeccably, as always, his tailored suit a stark contrast to the casual emptiness of the office. But there's a hardness in his posture, a predatory edge that makes my skin crawl. Behind him, through a half-open door leading to a conference room, I catch a glimpse of Derek lingering in the hallway. His face is partially hidden in shadow, but I know it's him. Those familiar shoulders, that tense stance. He's watching, waiting, and the realization hits me like a punch. He knew this was coming. Mr. Hargrove steps closer, his presence suffocating, and his voice drops to a low, commanding growl that leaves no room for argument. He explains what help means, each word slicing through me like a blade. My stomach churns as the pieces fall into place. A deal, a transaction, my compliance in exchange for Derek's promotion to Senior Strategy Director. It's not a request, it's an order, wrapped in the cold certainty of power. I glance toward the door again, searching for Derek's eyes, hoping for some sign of protest, but he's still there, unmoving, a silent witness to this twisted bargain, unable to intervene. My mind reels, caught in a storm of shock and disgust, but beneath it, there's something else. A strange, conflicting pull. Derek's worked so hard for this, poured years of his life into proving himself, and I've seen him crumble under the weight of that dream. Could I really say no, knowing what it means to him? My heart hammers against my ribs, but I don't resist. I can't. Not when I see the cost of refusal written in the lines of his face, even from across the A's we drive home from Pinnacle Solutions that Saturday. The weight of what just happened sits heavy in my chest, a stone I can't dislodge. The car is suffocating with silence, the kind that feels like it could shatter with a single word. I keep my eyes fixed on the window, watching the streetlights blur into streaks of amber and white as they flicker past. My hands are clenched in my lap, fingers digging into my palms, trying to anchor myself to something real. Then, Derek's voice cuts through the stillness, barely above a whisper, like he's afraid to disturb the fragile air between us. "Thank you. I got the promotion. We'll have more." Those words hit me like a slow-motion wave, surreal and disorienting, as if they're coming from someone else, somewhere far away. I can't turn to look at him. I can't find a response. My throat feels tight, my mind spinning with the echo of his gratitude. A gratitude that feels like a blade twisting deeper. More? More of what? Money, status, or something darker? I don't ask. I just keep staring out at the night, letting the hum of the engine fill the void where my voice should be. The days that follow are a strange, tense dance. Back at home, we don't speak about that evening, not once. It's as if by unspoken agreement, we've decided to bury it beneath the surface of our routine. But it's there, lurking in every glance across the kitchen table, in every forced smile over breakfast as I pass him the jam. I watch him sip his coffee, the steam curling up like secrets we're both too afraid to name, and I wonder if he sees the same shadow in my eyes that I see in his. The air in our house feels charged, like the moment before a storm breaks, and I can't shake the feeling that we're both waiting for something to give. Derek starts his new role as Senior Strategy Director, and I notice the changes almost immediately. There's a new suit hanging in his closet, crisp and tailored, a symbol of his elevated status. His stride has a confidence I haven't seen in years, a purposeful rhythm as he heads out the door each morning. But there are late nights too, more than before. When I'm left alone with the quiet hum of the refrigerator and the flicker of the TV, wondering what's keeping him at the office so long. Meanwhile, I'm haunted by the memory of that Saturday. It plays on a loop in my mind, especially during the quiet moments at my desk on the third floor, surrounded by spreadsheets and the soft clatter of keyboards. I'll be staring at a column of numbers, pen poised midair, when suddenly I'm back there, feeling the weight of Mr. Hargrove's gaze, the cold certainty of his voice, and the way my own body betrayed me by not running, not fighting. I can still feel the texture of that moment, the way it shifted something inside me, like a lock clicking open to reveal a room I didn't know existed. And here's the part I can barely admit to myself. I don't regret it. Not entirely. There's a part of me, small but undeniable, that feels a strange thrill when I think about what I did for Derek, about the power it took to cross that line, to bend under pressure and come out the other side with something gained. It's a dangerous thought, one I push down as soon as it surfaces, but it keeps creeping back, whispering in the quiet spaces of my day. About a week later, I find myself standing in front of the bathroom mirror after a long day, the fluorescent light casting harsh shadows across my face. I'm brushing my teeth, the mundane rhythm of the bristles against enamel grounding me, when I pause and really look at my reflection. My eyes seem different, sharper somehow, like they belong to someone who's seen too much and yet isn't afraid of seeing more. I lean closer, studying the lines around my mouth, the faint tension in my jaw, and I feel it. A strange, electric surge of power humming beneath my skin. I've crossed a line I can't uncross, stepped into a version of myself It's been a month since Derek stepped into his new role as Senior Strategy Director, and I've watched him settle into that position with a confidence that both reassures and unsettles me. But beneath the surface of our carefully maintained routine, there's a restlessness growing inside me, a hunger I can't quite name. I've been thinking about my own path at Pinnacle Solutions, about the years I've spent buried in numbers and reports, always in the background, always supporting. What about me? What about my own ambitions? The thought gnaws at me day after day until it becomes impossible to ignore. I want more. I deserve more. And so I make a decision, one that feels both inevitable and terrifying. I'm going after the management position that's just opened up, a role that could finally pull me out of the shadows and into the light. It's a Thursday evening when I set my plan in motion. I tell Derek I've got a project to finish, that I'll be staying late at the office. He nods, distracted as always these days, barely looking up from his laptop as I grab my bag and head out the door. The lie sits heavy on my tongue, but I push it down. This isn't about him, not tonight. This is about me taking control, claiming something for myself after giving so much. I drive to the office under a sky bruised with twilight, the city humming around me, my heart pounding with a mix of nerves and determination. When I step into the building, it's nearly deserted, the usual clamor of the workday replaced by a hollow quiet that amplifies every sound. My heels click against the polished floor as I make my way to the elevator, the sound sharp and deliberate, echoing my resolve. I've chosen my outfit with care. A fitted blouse that hugs my frame in a way I know turns heads, paired with a pencil skirt that accentuates every step. It's not just about looking professional. It's about projecting power, about making an impression that lingers. As the elevator ascends to the executive floor, I catch my reflection in the mirrored walls, and for a moment, I hardly recognize myself. There's a hardness in my eyes, a calculated edge that wasn't there before. The doors slide open, and I step out, the hallway stretching before me like a gauntlet. My heels click against the tile, each step a declaration, the sound reverberating in the empty space as I approach Mr. Hargrove's office. The door is slightly ajar, a sliver of light spilling into the corridor, and I can see him there, seated behind that massive oak desk that dominates the room like a throne. I pause for just a heartbeat, smoothing my blouse, squaring my shoulders, then push the door open and step inside. The air shifts as I close it behind me with a soft but firm click, sealing us in this private arena. Mr. Hargrove looks up, his gray eyes narrowing slightly, a flicker of recognition passing through them as he takes me in. I don't flinch under that gaze. Instead, I walk forward with a confidence I've pulled from somewhere deep, stopping just in front of his desk. "Mr. Hargrove?" I say, my voice steady, cutting through the silence. "I'm here about the management position. I want it, and I'm prepared to do what it takes to prove I'm the right choice." There's no mistaking my intent, no room for misinterpretation in the way I hold myself, in the weight of my words. He leans back in his chair, a slow smirk curling at the corner of his mouth, his fingers steepled as he studies me. He doesn't speak at first, just lets the silence stretch, but I can see it in his eyes. He already knows what I'm offering, and he's already decided to accept. There's no pretense here, no need for flowery words or false pleasantries. We both understand the game, the unspoken rules that govern this moment. And so, I cross that line again, betraying Derek in a way that's entirely my own, right here in this office that reeks of power and cigar smoke. It's not about passion or desire, it's a transaction, cold and calculated, a step she takes with full awareness of its implications. Here I am, months after that fateful Thursday evening, standing in the new reality Derek and I have crafted for ourselves at Pinnacle Solutions. It's a strange, polished world we've built, one that gleams with the trappings of success but hums with undercurrents of something unspoken. We've both climbed the ladder now, our offices just a few doors apart on the same floor, a proximity that feels both comforting and suffocating. My nameplate reads, Amanda Carter, Analytics Manager, the letters etched in gold, a testament to the ambition I seized with both hands. Derek's, just down the hall, proudly declares Derek Carter, Senior Strategy Director, a title he wears like a second skin these days. Every time I pass by his door, I catch a glimpse of that nameplate, and it's a sharp reminder of the paths we've walked to get here, paths paved with choices we don't dare name aloud. There are moments in the workday that catch me off guard, small slices of time where the weight of our history presses against me. One afternoon, as I head to a meeting, my heels click softly on the tiled floor of the hallway, and I see Derek coming from the opposite direction. He's in a tailored suit, his posture straighter than it used to be, carrying a stack of files under one arm. Our paths cross for just a second, and our eyes meet, briefly, fleetingly, but it's enough. There's a flicker there, a silent acknowledgement of the stories we carry, the ones we've buried deep beneath layers of professionalism and routine. It's not a smile, not a nod, just a look that says we both know. We know what it cost. We know what we traded. And then the moment passes, and we keep walking, as if nothing happened, as if we're just two colleagues sharing a hallway instead of two souls bound by secrets. At home, our life looks like a picture of achievement from the outside. We've upgraded the furniture, swapping out the old worn couch for a sleek leather sectional that dominates the living room. There's a vacation planned for next month, a getaway to a tropical island we've only ever dreamed of before, funded by the bigger paychecks that come with our new titles. The house feels fuller somehow, with new art on the walls and a gleaming coffee machine on the counter that makes the kitchen smell like a high-end cafe. But beneath the surface, there's a hollowness that no amount of material gain can fill. Derek and I move through our evenings with a practiced ease, but it's a performance. We don't talk about what happened. Not the first time, when I made a choice for his sake, nor the second, when I made one for mine. Those moments are locked away, hidden in a vault neither of us dares to open, and yet they're always there, lingering in the spaces between our words, in the silences that stretch too long over dinner. I wrestle with a tangle of emotions as I navigate this new life. There's pride, sharp and bright, when I sit at my desk in my corner office, looking out over the city through the wide window, knowing I earned this role through sheer determination. I've proven to myself that I can take control, that I can shape my own future, and that feels like a victory I've longed for. But there's guilt too, a heavy shadow that clings to me, especially when I catch Derek's profile in the kitchen light, unaware of the full extent of what I've done. I betrayed him twice, in ways that cut deeper the second time because they were for me, not for him. And yet, beneath the guilt, there's something darker. A quiet, unsettling satisfaction. I took my path, I claimed my power, And there's a part of me that revels in that, even as it scares me. It's a complex storm inside, one I can't fully unravel. But it churns every time I think about how far I've come and what I've left behind to get here. One quiet evening, I find myself on that new leather couch, a glass of red wine in my hand, the deep ruby liquid catching the soft glow of the lamp beside me. Derek is sitting across from me, lost in his thoughts, the same silence enveloping us as always. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.